So last session we understood about importance of framework applications, and then we understood about like implementation applications and how our organization structure to be designed. Okay. And how it's to be connected for internal as well as external APIs, all these things. Okay. Mostly we understood about organization structure versus application structure. Okay. So after you joining company, so there might be n number of frameworks. Okay. There might be n number of frameworks, and all these frameworks are to manage this below implementations only. No? So you as a person after joining some company, you will be given access only for implementation applications. You will not be given access for frameworks. Okay, maybe if your requirement is to design something where you have to maintain reusable part, still you have to do something in frameworks only, no? So with this implementation access, you can do everything above level also. So don't expect like having separate access for all these frameworks. So if we have got access for one implementation, it will in turn, it is like in turn got access for other things only. Fine. And in this Pega application, after joining company, day one, you have to ask your manager about this development URL. Okay. And after that, you'll get some login page, and then you have to ask for the operator ID creation. As I told you, whoever is logging into Pega, they are considered as operators. And that too, there will be four type of operators. What are those? Or four roles particularly. Author has one role. Come on. What are the
User, admin, manager.
user role, admin,
Admin,
and
manager.
Manager.
So every operator ID should be part of these four roles only. If it is author role, they can access development studio or it's a similar one that is app studio. So user will be accessing user portal. And what about admins? Admin studio is what we call. And managers, they'll access real manager portal. These two are something related to the original employees. And this is something part of development. This is something part of configurational related. Okay, now in this Pega login page, as I told you, this can be customizable where instead of Pega logo, they'll include one more thing or different logo. And this username and password fields, whatever it is asking for, you can adjust to the left corner or right corner or side by side. Some UI styles are allowed, but this login button should never be modified. So maybe here, if I enter something and if I enter some dummy password, no doubt I'll get some error message. So how it is throwing error message? It is cross-checking in our database whether this is valid operator ID or not. Then further, it is throwing some error message. Now, if I ask you what is this type of validation? Is it client or server?
Server side validation.
It is server side validation, meaning it is just checking till the server level and confirming that this is wrong ID. Okay, now coming back. So background, it is checking for somewhere a database, right? So first of all, what is our database name?
Pega data.
For every Pega project background, there must be a database, right? And its name is Pega data, which is nothing but collection of tables, collection of multiple tables. And there will be one such table holding all the list of operator IDs. What is the table name?
PR operators.
PR underscore operators. So if I ask you, there will be some other tables also, right? What will be its general prefixes? Few tables starts with PR. What will be the other two prefixes?
PC, PR.
PR4.
PR4.
Okay, so few tables starts with PR, few with PC, with PR4. Now every table, no doubt, should have something as columns, right? And at least one primary column will be there. For operators table, what is that primary column?
PR user identifier.
Is it PR?
PY user ID.
PY.
Is
PY.
user identifier. So meaning these columns will be having prefixes as PX. or PY or PZ. Okay, so what is like significance of PX, maybe PY, PZ? Why this table is starting with PR only? Why other table is starting with PC? Okay, what is PR related for everything you should know. And even in interviews, sometimes they might ask you. Okay, that is, we are having almost like 1,000 operators accessing our Pega application. Meaning this Pega application can be accessed by developers, testers, real users, managers, right? All these are operators. No doubt those many records must be there. Consider 1,000 records are there. If I'm trying to hit this login button, if this ID is not available out of this 1,000, no doubt it will throw an error message. You know that. Now today, our client, maybe City is our client. Our client, what he's saying is all the operator data is maintained in PR operators table, no doubt. And I wanted to maintain these tables into a new table. Is it really possible or not? This is what they'll ask. Okay, so in interviews, no one will ask you on theoretical questions. If I'm the interviewer, I'll not ask you what is the table for operator ID. That is just for your understanding. So if you're planning to go like an experienced, so everything will be scenario based only. Everything will be scenario based only. So one small scenario is how to maintain a new table and copy this data from table 1 to table 2. If this is the task given, you as a developer, what you'll do? This is what they'll ask. Or let me ask the same question in something understandable format for you. So consider TCS is one big company, right? There will be n number of employees, maybe IT employees, non-IT employees. All these employees, what they'll do, they'll try to log in their internal portals. Okay, there will be certain portals, right? And if they could log in, no doubt it must be like a record in their database. For TCS, there will be a big database where all the employees must be like in records here, or all the operators, so-called operators must be like in record here. Just an example. Now, TCS as a big company, it is acquiring a small company like ABC. So ABC, one small company where they're having only 100 employees. So TCS acquired this company. Now, data from operators table of one database. This is different Pega project. This is different Pega project. Consider TCS internal applications. So if you are working in TCS, you'll see Ultimatics as its internal portals name. Okay. If you don't know, ignore about it. So this company will be having some internal applications, right? One for leave applying, one for travel details, whatever. All these might be developed on Pega. And their database name is Pega data only, and within which PR operators table will be there. So there will be PY user identifier, and all these are like TCS employees. And consider there is one more ABC company. So consider this is also like running on Pega internally. So they also will have Pega database. Don't think both the databases are same. Both are purely different. If I work in city project, if you are working in HSBC project, so Pega screens or development studio related screens looks similar, but completely projects are different, right? Database is different, right? So here also you'll see with the same name Pega data. And here also you'll see with the same table, that is PR operators with PY user identifier as the primary column. There might be only 10 records. Now these 10 employees are to be merged into this table. So how do you implement this? This is what they'll ask you in interview. So question clear, right? Every one of you, please confirm me.
Yeah.
So
Yes, sir.
whatever I'm asking you, so
Yeah,
is
yes.
yes. Okay. For this, there will be different approaches. So you as a developer should answer this saying like, so this should not be done. Suppose today you join one company. Your business analyst just dropped you an email saying like operators or maybe records from so and so table are to be added into this table. This is its JDBC connection URL. This is their password and username and password. So you can access this database and you can access this table. So try to get this data add up into this one. This is what you got an email. So today morning 9 o'clock, you logged into your office system and checked for this email. And you should work on this, but you should not run this immediately. Why? Because if you are trying to do something, getting data from table 1 to table 2, if this is having some lakhs of records, so there will be huge load on our server during that time. Morning 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock is something like peak time, right, for our bank. Okay, or somewhere production hours are not to be done with these kind of tasks. They will ask you to do this at midnight 12 o'clock. So today, midnight 12 o'clock, do something to get data from one table to another table. This is what they'll say. So for that, it is not expected that you have to stay till 12 o'clock. You need not stay till 12 o'clock. Or you need not log in from home at 12 o'clock and do something. You have to schedule. So for scheduling, what rules you will do? This is what they'll ask in interview. So you can say it as job scheduler is something what I can schedule it. Or queue processor is something. Or maybe advanced agent is something. Or standard agent is something. So what automated thing you're trying to set? This is what they'll ask in interview. And they might ask you differences between all the four, whatever you named now. And what might be the challenge if you're following approach 1, maybe approach 2 or approach 3, and how to run one automated SQL query with a third-party database. You are an TCS employee today. You're trying to access this database. No doubt if it is a database and if it is a database table, to interact, you require SQL queries. You require SQL queries. Now, if this is our Pega login page or internal one, if I click on login, system is running one SQL query with our own table. So if it is our internal database, we can expect system running on SQL query. Maybe if it is of external database, still SQL queries are required. So here can our Pega rules generate SQL queries with third party or not? How did you manage all these things? They'll ask you. So you will be in a position to answer this question in any of the way they are trying to question you. No doubt, you'll understand everything in detail. But what I'm trying to explain today itself is don't learn anything theoretically. It will never help you. It will never help you. You should learn everything more practical oriented. So consider my own manager. Okay. Or if you are working in any company, you might be Pega developer. Consider we all are working in some company, maybe or different companies as a Pega developers. So for all of us, there will be high level managers, right? And manager need not be of Pega employee. So personally, my manager is almost like 17 years experienced, but he is not having Pega development experience at all. We don't know what Pega is also, but he's a manager for our Pega project. So he's having management experience in Java projects or maybe testing projects. So today he's like delivery manager for us, but he doesn't know anything about like Pega. Okay, that is actually common point. Okay, so after you start attending for interviews, initially technical round will be there, no doubt onto Pega discussion on. And second round also will be there, that too on Pega related part only. And maybe after that, maybe if we have cleared these 2 rounds, next round will be like managerial round, right? Generally. Okay, manager round. So here, so-called 17 years manager, he will ask you few questions. So he might not ask you anything on Pega, but he will ask you everything on scenario based. Whatever the experience he's having from past many years. So he'll be having many scenario based, right? So if our company is merging up with another company, I wanted to get data from that table to this table. You as a Pega developer, how you'll do this? This is what he'll ask you. So whatever you say technically, he might not understand. If you talk in detail about like queue processor, he might not know that. But everything high level functional, he can ask you. So if you're trying to answer this, he might ask you maybe few of the records, maybe 2 of these records are not those direct employees. These 2 are like contract from some other company. So if this is the scenario, how do you handle? So he know everything about like exceptional handlings. He knows everything about like positive what happens, what might be the negative scenarios. So he'll try to question everything on top of this. Okay, so there will be n number of such scenario based. All the managerial rounds are purely scenario based only. Okay, so if he's having experience on the same on Java project or .NET project, he can easily correlate what you are saying on Pega project. He might not have Pega skill, but he can able to correlate everything. So most of us generally will think like manager round will not be more technical. Yes, it's not technical, but it is more difficult, or it is like compared to be difficult as like in technical rounds because they are having more of scenario based. So you cannot answer them more on Pega related way. So you have to answer more on overall scenario based. So it's like very diplomatic way to manage managerial round. So day one, why am I saying all these things is like you have to learn everything on scenario based only. So we are fond of scenario based training. So if we can manage all these things, whatever the future requirement might be, it might be like 4 years level, or if you wanted to showcase yourself like 7 years level, still you can able to manage the things. Okay, so now coming back here, you should know what is like operators table all about. What will be its prefixes? Is it PX or PY or PZ? Okay, you should know everything out of this. So following right, every one of you.
Chandra, here I have like one question. Is it, one implementation application can like inherit it from two frameworks application?
That depends upon your structure, right? So if this is your organization which has got one framework, so this is your implementation one, this is your implementation two. So now you tell me implementation two can get only from this framework. So if it is having one more framework on top of it, implementation two can get from framework one and two, right?
But is there any possibility on simultaneously like framework 2 and framework 3 under like framework 1? If that is also possible.
Here, correct?
Not like that. It's here exactly.
Okay, if you're
And
having framework three here, which is not connected to implementation two, so why why your business analyst included in this way? Considering there is no dependency on these two things, correct? Okay, if there
yes,
is no dependency, then it is out of inheritance. You will understand what is inheritance. Inheritance meaning inheriting from parent to child. So this is not a legal parent for this one. Am I correct? Yes, right?
but I think we can make that dedicatedly if you want.
So if you wanted to get it in terms of class inheritances, that is direct inheritance, it is actually possible. So if you wanted these to be connected, then this framework should be somewhere linked up in this, right? So if you want it here, generally in real time, so there might be scenarios of getting other application databases. General applications, if it is connected something like this, consider this one. This is my framework. This is my credit card. This is my loans application. Okay, now I'll ask you one small thing. I'm asking you a small thing here. So this is one framework where its components can be used into application 1 and 2, right? Application 1 and 2. So this is our main database where there will be one dedicated table for credit card application and one dedicated table for loans application. Okay, so if you are a credit card employee here, and whenever a customer is coming to you asking for credit card, so you should ask them whether there is any account created for him in the same bank or not. So if he's not having like bank account, or if he's having bank account, you will ask for your bank account number, right? You'll ask him for bank account number. I'll ask for this number. Whatever the data we are having it here, are we not getting here? Yes, right? You tell me, Saurabh. It's possible, right?
Yes,
It should be
yes,
possible. But
exactly.
ideally speaking, this application are both independent. We are considering these two are not connected. That is where we are maintaining separately, but under one framework. But there will be scenarios where I have to get this applicational data into this one. It doesn't mean that this data is what we are directly getting. We are trying to get its database data onto here. So for our entire project, database is same. You can access any table at any level. So for this framework, you will have one database table, no doubt. So if I'm having, maybe this has another framework. So this implementation and this framework are not inheritedly connected. But if you wanted to access its data out of its database, it can be happily done. So if you wanted to access these rules which are out of inheritance onto this one, so with some manual inheritance connection also you can do, which is not required. If it is really required, it must be connected somewhere in its parent structure. You'll understand all these things when we're understanding OOPS concept.
Okay.
Okay, got it right?
Yeah.
Everyone else following right?
Question.
Okay, fine. So coming back to our discussion. So there must be a table related to operators, and this operators table. So you will be having few important columns, that is PY user identifier and something about like password and something about like access group. So this person number 1 should be having author as the role. So he is author for what? Maybe credit card application. So PX application name is what it should be maintained. And person number 2, he might be like user role, maybe for loans application. So this is what your operators table will be. On a high level, I'm explaining you. After, when we're opening our database and when we're deep diving into this tabular design, there you'll come to know. Okay, there you'll come to know. So based on this table, generally you'll be getting n number of production issues. So daily, you'll get an email from bank manager saying like so and so persons. So today morning, I wanted him to access loans portal. And then afternoon, I want him to access credit card portal. This is actually a valid point, right? So there might be something mails triggered for you just to update their access group. But if this something like frequently running out, you should give a bank manager an option to update from their end. So update from their end meaning. So is it possible from them for them to access database? No. So there you have to understand some concept of delegation. So consider I'm the real bank manager where I require frequent changes on this table. So for every small change, if I rely on you, meaning you as a developer, so you should check for an email and you should respond for that, and you have to test it from your end, and then you have to reply back, right? I might not get immediate response from you every time. So for that, I'm requesting you to give me some option to make such changes from my end. I don't know anything about Pega. I don't know anything about like database or SQL queries. Still, you should give me an option to modify this. This concept is called delegating. So how to delegate a table or how to delegate some rules to the real users. So consider with one small example. So if you go to Vijayata supermarket today or some supermarket today, so all those are like employees only, no? These are the real users. Okay, so some will assist you in terms of selecting the product. Some will assist you in terms of cashier, or some will assist you in terms of like replacement, whatever. But there will be one dedicated person sitting to the corner of that store. He'll be accessing one laptop every time. So he's like administrator. What he's doing, he's trying to check for how many products are still available in stock, how many are sold out, how many are damaged. So today they wanted to increase tomato price from 100 rupees to maybe 200 rupees, just an example. Okay. So for that, just to make this backend change, if they are relying on a developer like you cannot respond to them in time. And instead that admin person, if he is given an option to change somewhere from 100 to 200, so it will be easy for them, right? So this is concept of delegation. How to delegate a rule, and how to delegate a rule only for one single person, that too in this particular time lapse only. I want to delegate this rule only from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So other times I should not allow user to make modifications. This being something like secured project. Consider I'm a bank manager where my team is working on something GST project. So I want every one of them to make modifications only between this time. So maybe after this time hours are completed, they are not supposed to log in at all. So what we are supposed to do, how to make this delegation available in time frame. So maybe exactly at 5 o'clock, how to remove these delegation options. And next day exactly at 9 o'clock, how to assign them with the delegation. Everything scenario based is what we have to know. Okay, fine. So with this knowledge, we are supposed to log. So we are having some initial understanding about like Pega developer or something about like operator ID, right? I'm supposed to log in. So my manager will create operator ID for me. I'm supposed to log in. So who will create operator ID for your manager? He's also supposed to log in, right? Maybe his manager might create for him, his manager, for him. So there must be one starting person who has to log in and who has to create further operator IDs, right? And now today is our scratch project. Something from zero is what we're doing. So today we installed Pega and I'm supposed to log in and I'll create operator IDs for every one of you. And even for me to log in, it is asking for ID and password, correct? Even to log in for the first time, system is asking for ID and password. So what ID, what password I have to define? So if I click on trouble login, maybe is it asking for recovery? So if it is asking for recovery, it might ask me for my email ID. So is my email ID available in database by this time? No, right? No. So meaning even for the first time, since it is asking for ID and password, Pega is providing one master ID and password for for the first time. So Pega is providing some master ID and password. So this master ID and password is administrator @pega.com and password is install. So this is one ID and password. I have to log in with that now. So if I log in, it will take me to the next screen. From there, I'll create my own operator ID and I'll create multiple operator ID for my team members. This is what the process is. Now, if I could able to log in with this master ID and password, no doubt in our operators table. So there must be a record with this name. Everyone agree with this? Yes, right? It should be correct. So if I could log in with this administrator@pega.com, no doubt it will take me to the next screen from where actually our project should start. So if I could log in with this ID and password, it must be a valid operator ID into operators table. So where under PY user identifier, you should see this. Maybe under password, you should see this. What might be the access level? Anyone? What might be the access level? Meaning next screen, what I'll get? If I get Dev Studio, here it must be author role. Ante kada? And if I get user portal, it must be user role. So here for this operator ID, what might be the access for me out of those four?
I think admin studio. I think so.
You think it as admin.
Yes.
What do you mean by admin studio generally? What a general administrator does? So if I'm the administrator, I'll log in and I'll check for the development related part of yours. If you are a developer, you'll do multiple developments. So creating frameworks or implementations or doing something, right? So as an administrator, I'll log in and I'll try to configure some email triggering for yours, or I'll try to configure some listeners or job schedulers or queue processors, whatever. And then I'll take care of deployment part. So without development at all, so what is the necessity of like deployment and other things? Meaning admin studio, you will not get. That is what I'm straight away saying you. What might be the other screen?
Author.
It should be 100% author. No doubt it must be author. Now, if it is like author, next you'll get admin studio, right? Sorry, I'm sorry. It is like development studio, right? Development studio. Development studio for what application? Consider there are like 3 more developers. All these are authors, and this must be like connected to credit card application, loans application, something like accounts application. Every operator should be defined with role, and no doubt there must be an application name also. Did we create any application so far? No, no. And what might be the application after I log in? So let me log in and show you. Administrator@pega.com and password as install. Now, if I click on login, system will cross check whether this ID password is correct or not. Then it will check what is the role. It must be author role for what application. Just login. So it is taking you to something called a development studio. This is what your actual development platform is. And here you will see something like application name. Okay, here you are seeing application name. So what is the application name, by the way? Just read it out.
The platform.
Pega platform. This is our application name, right? Okay. So consider these three developers. So if you are a developer here, maybe with the name Ravi, if you log in here, you will see HDFC loans as the application name. If this person is logging in something about like HDFC credit card, so no doubt this operator will be connected with an application. Now, in this case, this operator has got something application what we don't know. Did we create this? No, right? And by the way, did we create this operator already? No. So in Pega, we are having a number of predefined things. Many predefined things. So many operator IDs or maybe application names. So many activities. Okay, if I ask you how to send an email, what is the answer for that? How to send email?
You send the email activity.
So using send email notification, this is something what we are already saying, right? Did we create it? No. Maybe did we create this operator ID? No. Did we create this application? No. So likewise, you'll see hundreds of predefined things. Suppose if I log in here, so you'll see something portal as case manager. Okay, so for every application, there will be portals, right? As I told you, consider this as our credit card application. So I'll be accessing development studio for credit card. If you are the real bank employee or real bank manager, you will, after you logging in, you will get some manager portal where you can see all the credit card requests or all the loan requests, where you can open everything, you can approve or you can reject, you can make it like underwrite process, whatever. So there must be some portals, right? So this portal is also created. Did we create it? No. So this is something looking colorful with some Pega logo and all these things. So in Pega, what I'm trying to say here is there are like n number of predefined things. And technically, we should call these predefined things as OOTP. Okay, so full form of this is anyone?
Out of the box.
It is out of the box. Okay, so if you see anything like already available in Pega, you should call it as OOTP. That is out of the box. Now coming here, I can say administrator@pega.com. This is one OOTP operator ID. I did not create it, right? And Pega platform, this is one OOTP application. And send email notification, this is one OOTP activity. You don't know what is activity still. So this is something predefined. I did not create this. This is OOTP activity. And you can see this flying horse. This is one OOTP image. Okay, you can see this left side. This is OOTP menu. And this is something like OOTP table layout. So this is like OOTP navigational, whatever it is, whatever you see in Pega, which is already available for you, you call it as OOTP. There are like thousands of OOTP things. So you make use of those OOTP. Okay, you should make use of those OOTP. And no doubt you will be creating something extra also. We will not fully rely on OOTP. So consider I have to create 4 new operator IDs. So no doubt these are not predefined, right? I have to create new, and I have to create new applications. I have to create new images. I have to create new screens. I have to include first name as something, last name as something, everything I have to create. So on top of OOTB, we'll be creating a few extra things also. So
And with
those are, what is it?
TLA.
Please go on it. If you're not talking out, please go on it. Fine. So if anything like system created, those we call it as OOTB. And if something what you are creating, those are called as user created part. Okay. So these three operators are user created, meaning I as a developer created these three. And this is system created OOTB. So in Pega, mostly we'll try to use OOTB if applicable. Now considering the same example, if I'm supposed to design screen number 1 to capture some details from the user, that is first name, last name, age, and something like email ID. And after user entering all these details, if he's clicking on submit button, there must be one email to be triggered, meaning we can use one OOTB activity for this, or you can create a new activity and achieve the same. But if you're having something OOTB, customization is not encouraged. So if you're trying to go for something extra customization, still Pega algorithm can detect it and it can give you something compliance score reduced. As I told you, every application to be perfectly designed. Perfectly, when I say perfectly, try to use OOTB whenever possible. If you could not use OOTB or if you don't find, then you can customize something own. That is okay. Okay. So compliance score is something where we completely rely on. So as I told you, one person from Pega systems, he will be continuously watching for this compliance score. And based on this, our manager is answerable for that. So if we as a team not doing all this perfectly, no doubt our manager will ask us to redesign everything. Because ultimately he is like answerable person for Pega systems, right? Okay, that's fine. So finally, what I mean to say here is in Pega, whatever you see already available, that is OOTB. That is to be called as OOTB. And now, so somehow you logged into this Pega platform. Okay, you can see this Pega platform. And this is our actual development studio. So this development studio will be accessible only for the developers, not everyone.
Chandra, just first question. The compliance score is the same as guardrails, like?
Based on the guardrails, compliance score will be generated.
Okay.
So these are interlinked. Okay, guardrail warnings. You see warnings, right? So
Mhm.
you are supposed to follow top 10 guardrails. Okay, if you are not following any of these guardrail related guardrail related things, score will be affected. Okay, these two are like directly interlinked. Okay.
Okay.
Fine. So this is our actual Pega development studio. So now you can see something like we are in version number 8.7. Now let me quickly tell you what are the Pega versions launched. Okay, so today maybe 8.0, 8.1, 8.2, somewhere like 8.7 and 8.8. After which Pega has released a version like 23 directly. 23.1, 23.2, 23.3, 23.4. After which 24.1, 24.2. Okay, maybe 24.3. So likewise. And prior to this one, 7.0, 7.1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. After 4, they directly launched this. Before the 6.0, 6.1, 6.2, 6.3, directly they launched this. So this is what our Pega versional history is. Okay. So today, the latest version or after 8.8 version, every one of us expected the next version to be as 8.9. But suddenly they launched it as 23. What is this magical number 23? So 23 is nothing but kind of year. Okay, but ideally speaking, 23 version is not released in 23. It is released in 24. Okay, so this is indicating the year and this is indicating its quarter. So Pega is planning to release every version for every quarter. That is what their thinking is. So if that is the scenario, it must be 25.2, right? Is this quarter number 2? Maybe quarter 2 or 3, whatever. So here, today, the latest version must be 25.2, right? 25.2. But this is still not available. So the highest version today is 24.2 only. So here the naming convention, it's purely up to them. So they're trying to give like year dot quarter. So this is somewhere started after 8.8. Okay. So this is our latest version. So why are we not learning directly in this latest version? So because this 24, maybe from 8 after 8.7. So whatever the versions Pega they released, they stopped personal edition, meaning we cannot download it and we cannot do anything directly on our laptop. So every one of you might have downloaded this Pega software, right? So that is available till 8.7 version only. That is where we could still work on this 8.7. So how to work on 24 version then? So these are completely running on cloud. Okay, so where there is no there is no installation required. Straight away, background, after you logging into Pega PDN or whatever, in the real time, after you connecting to the network, client network, they'll share you one URL which is purely running on cloud, and with that you can use it. And now in our personal practice purpose, so there is no downloadable software from 8.8. So Pega is giving us access to work on this, but only for 30-day trial. Okay, so you should log into Pega website. I'll guide you everything, don't worry. You are supposed to log into Pega website, and there you'll see an option called Start a Trial. Okay, so the latest one, whatever it is by that time, so that version you can start working on, where it can be accessed up to 30 days and additionally of 15 days for one time. So total maximum up to 45 days is what you can able to access that trial. So if our Pega training is completed, if you're trying to make everything completed in 45 days, then I can make you working on this. I can train you completely on this, where you learn latest concepts, everything. But this is only 45-day trial period where you cannot complete everything in 45 days. So that is where whatever the latest concepts between these two and this. So consider 100% of the concepts if we are having 90% projects, 90% concepts are similar. So the activities, data transfer, whatever it is, 90% everything it is similar. So that is where we are trying to make you download this one. So we are trying to explain you all the 90% concepts which are like common between these two. We're trying to cover here itself. Why? Because this is downloadable and you can able to maintain this for longer time. Okay, you can maintain this for longer time. You can practice for n number of times. But this is something purely running on cloud. And whatever the extra 10% concepts like constellation part or Gen AI part or whatever. So these advanced concepts will make you to learn on this, the latest version, where we can complete in hardly 2 to 3 weeks. So this time is enough for us. So that is where, so we're trying to make you work on most of the tasks on this. Okay, that's fine. So here you can see after 7.4, they have released something like 8th version directly. So whenever they introduced 8th version, there are like huge changes compared to 7.4. Now we are somewhere in 8.7. Okay. And here you can see development studio, right? From 8.0, all the future scenarios, there will not be major changes at all. There will not be major changes. Don't overthink about these version numbers. So if you are learning here, so can we manage this or not? Maybe if you're directly learning this, if you're joining any project which is still running in 7.3, can you work or not? So don't overthink much about all these things. Why? Because you are a Pega developer. So you are learning the main Pega tool, whatever the version it might be. There will not be major changes between version to version. So consider with a small example. So if you are running one photo studio, okay, so you might be having a shop which is about like photo studio related. Generally, you will try to design some greeting cards or maybe like birthday related videos, these things, right? So there you will be using a software called Photoshop. So this is most famous software, Photoshop. And today you are using this Photoshop software, which is like version number 4, consider. And the latest version is something like version number 13. So the number of versions are introduced after your this version. So here, you are pro in Photoshop software, and if you wanted to, download 13th version, and if you wanted to do something there, so maybe for first 1 week you might not be that comfortable. So it's not like complete Greek and Latin for you, right? So don't you understand the major concepts there? So most of the part will be as the same, despite if it is having 10 extra versions in between. So there will not be, it's like there will not be like a huge observations for a developer like you. So you know everything, whatever happening in the background, right? So learning this new version, hardly it will take like 7 days. In next 1 week or 2 weeks, you can get habituated for all the latest concepts, and you can able to do everything. So you are a developer, you are learning the core functionalities of any tool for any of its latest versions. You can happily manage this. Don't overthink about the versions. I see many people thinking much about the versions. You need not do that much. Okay, so consider you learned Pega version 24. Okay, so you are learning something like version number 24 today. And after 4 months, you'll start attempting for interviews, right? And you went for an interview where the project is still running on 8.1. So there will be scenarios where that project is still running on 8.1. So will you say that I learned 24, I'll not grab this opportunity? No, right? Will you miss this opportunity? No. You as a Pega developer should be accustomed to working on any version or any part of Pega. So that is where you'll come to know, no doubt in it. So now here, if you observe, after you started, so this is something like 8th version, right? 8th version. So from 8th version till date, from 8.0 till date, so Pega is calling these versions as Pega Infinity. You can see this here, right? So they're calling this something as Pega Infinity. Okay, what do you mean by infinity? So in the past versions, that is still 7.4, as I told you, there are no major features. So after 7.4, they directly launched 8th version, where they have included something called Admin Studio, Production Studio as an App Studio. Okay, so in the past versions, there is something like Designer Studio is what you used to call. Okay, after logging in 7th version, instead of Admin Studio, or sorry, instead of Development Studio here, you'll see something called a Designer Studio. And latest you are seeing like Admin Studio. And in the latest versions, you are seeing something like Admin Studio and other studios are also included. So you'll see a small arrow where you can launch all other studios. The past versions, this is like very difficult to manage everything. So huge changes are added. It might not be in the development perspective. It might be in something deployment related things or whatever. No doubt huge changes are added up. So that is where they're calling it as Pega Infinity version from 8th version. Okay, so they'll directly ask you in interview whether you have experience working in Infinity version or not. They will not particularly look about a candidate who has 8.2 version alone, or 7.4 version alone, or 24.1 version alone. They will be overall asking you whether you have experience working in Infinity version or not. Okay. Okay. Now, from interviewer perspective, okay, from Pega perspective, we should call it as Pega Infinity, right? Maybe interviewer, he might ask you whether you have experience working in Infinity version or not. So their thinking is about Infinity meaning these two things. So if I'm your interviewer, if I ask you, do you have experience working in 23 version? I might ask you with particular version number, right? Instead of that, I'll ask you, do you have experience working in Infinity version? If any interviewer asking you about Infinity as a word, their perspective is about like experience in these two versions. But Pega is saying like Infinity from here itself. There are no major changes. But major changes from here is like Gen AI, which is introduced. And maybe Constellation UI. Constellation is there from 8.8 only. But if they are looking for something like latest things, they might ask you Pega Infinity considering these two things. but Pega is claiming as Infinity from 8th version itself. So what you have to observe is, if you are logging from 8th version, here you'll see Development Studio and something like Pega Infinity. So here, if you observe, you can see something like moon, maybe stars and mountains and clouds, right? Meaning Pega development is almost reaching to the infinity level. Sky is the limit. That is what they wanted to show this as promotional. So Pega Infinity is just for promotional purpose they're doing. And this is where development is like limitless. Okay, automation is like limitless. That is where they're trying to. And in the past versions, you used to see something called Designer Studio and you did not see this banner. Okay, fine. So what is difference between Designer Studio and Development Studio? So Designer Studio will make you only development part automated. Development Studio will make you development part as well as a deployment part as well as a reporting part, everything. So whatever required for an application, everything is included in this one. So it is configured with extra studios like admin studio or prediction studios, extra studios also. So this is somewhere like a development studio. This is designer studio. And here you can observe or whatever you are saying. So this is to be considered as header. This is to be considered as header. And this is to be considered as footer. And this part, whatever you are saying. So this is to be considered as App Explorer. Okay, Explorer, where actual development happens here on. And as I told you, this is one promotional message. And if you wanted to create or start something, you can click on this. And here, very important thing, you will see something called guardrail warnings. Okay, guardrail warnings. Guardrail warnings meaning, as I told you, the best practices, what you're supposed to follow. So every one of us will log in with our own operator IDs. So after I logging in, it is my responsibility to check everything like zero with my name. Introduced by you meaning, so myself, for whatever the development I have done, is it having any warnings or not, severe, moderate or information. So it's my responsibility to make it as zero. And if I'm the manager, team manager, and if you all as a team has done small mistakes, so at your login, it will be showing number. And if I log in, so introduced by team is what I'll see. I might see something like 4 as the number here. I'll click on that number 4 and I'll see what are those 4 warnings. So the first warning, I can see its operator name also. Okay, I'll call that operator and ask what is the task given. Why did you do in this way? Can you please redesign and make sure there should not be any warning as per this. So ultimately introduced by team must be everything as 0 and introduced by you also to be completely as 0. Based on this, complaint score will be calculated. So this is our overall banner, overall login part. And here, this is something called header, right? So header meaning any kind of configurations is what we have to do. Any kind of configurations generally. So after I logging into my original application, I'll see credit card, right? Maybe HDFC credit card or maybe Access loans, whatever. I'll see some application name. And I'll drag and drop and design my main credit card portal. I'll drag and drop from this App Explorer and design my main credit card portal where it will show first name, last name and other things, right? After I clicking on this, I'm expected with an email triggering for the customer. So this email triggering from where are we getting? From this credit card application only? Nothing but this is the same, right? I open credit card application in Development Studio and this is its output screen. Whatever this application should generate one email triggering. So how to generate email triggering? First, you should have email account, right? First, you should have email account. You'll personally create an email account, maybe in Google server or Yahoo server or Microsoft server. All these are like SMTP providers. Some mail providers will be there. And I'm supposed to log in into their Google server, that is gmail.com. That is their server, right? I can compose an email personally there. and I log into Microsoft or Outlook.com, and I can able to access that account. I can access inbox and send mails, everything I can do it manually. So the same account, whatever you create everything manually, it is to be integrated with our Pega application now. So the same account has to be linked to our Pega application where we'll do in configurations. Under configurations, you'll see inbound email triggering, outbound email triggering, likewise. So there will be n number of such configurations to be done. You can see this, right? So email listeners or email accounts, whatever. What do you mean by inbound? What do you mean by outbound? So you consider this credit card application itself. So this HDFC credit card is sending an email, which is like mail outbounding. So if I'm a customer of this HDFC, if I just drop an email, support@hdfc.com, I'll get one automated email saying like your concern is considered. Please wait for 24 hours. Our team will call you shortly. So what is happening after I sending an email, it is responding to that. And it is doing something in its database table, creating a ticket for me. And it is trying to send it as a request to the respective team. Some concerned team, work list or work basket is trying to work on that. So this is like inbound. So any kind of mail triggering or any kind of like listener part or any third party APIs, whatever, these kind of configurations will do it at this header part. Okay. And all the development. So I'm supposed to drag and drop and everything, right? If this is my credit card application, I should first cross check whether it is having framework or not. And if so, how many frameworks? So maybe in framework 1, what are like already created? So I can check everything from this explorer part. So where major development activities or actions will be running here. Okay. And as I told you, this is promotional and this is also fine. And the last one is about like footer. So footer meaning for any kind of debugging. So you as a developer, you will not get every time enhancements, right? It is not about designing everything from beginning. So if it is already designed and if it is not working, you have to fix that defect. So to fix any defect, first you have to check where the issue is. So you should clearly understand the debugging options. So the footer, whatever you are seeing, it's a completely debugging part. So consider the same example. So if a bank employee registering a customer on click of this email is not triggered. Email is not triggered. It is saying like something went wrong. As a bank employee, what I'll do? I'll just take that screenshot and send it to you. You are production support team. You have to look into it. So where exactly it is breaking out? So sending an email is purely OOTP, right? You are having send email notification as one OOTP activity. You did not design that. So which is purely OOTP, but something is failing on top of it. So what exactly or what will be the sequence of things running out? Where exactly breaking? Okay, so why it is taking long time to run? Everything you have to trace it or you have to check exactly the issues. So for that you are seeing below debugging options. These debugging options will not be available for other type of users. So if I'm like an administrator, so by default, I'll get admin studio. So we got login page, right? Initial login page. If we both log in, if I'm the developer, I'll get development studio with debugging options. If you are logging in, so you might not get debugging options. Are you seeing below part? You are not seeing debugging options, but I'll access this development studio. Sorry, I'm accessing this admin studio with the developer access. I got development access and there I'm trying to access this portal. I'm trying to look at and I'm trying to look at this. So optionally, you'll be getting the same options here. You can see this gear icon, right? Optional, you can get the same options. So we'll try to terminate this for the different users. So if this is like manager portal, the real managers should work on. They should not get below part, right? So, but here I am accessing, I'm a developer. I am accessing this one. I wanted to look into it. So I'll see the same options here. Whatever you see like live view and other options, it will be accessible for me only. If you are the real bank employee, you'll not see this gear icon. If you are the real administrator, you'll not see this gear icon. So whatever you are seeing here, so this is something called footer part. Okay, fine. So now we should understand what is this development studio and how it is different in the past versions. And I'll give you one statement for today. So in the past versions, you used to see with this name as Designer Studio. And in the past versions, you used to see the application name as Pega Roots. So latest version, you are seeing it as Pega Platform, right? Which is predefined application. I did not create this. It is with the name Pega Platform. And in the past versions, you will be seeing with the name, what is that? What is the name you see in the past versions?
Pega rules.
It is
Pega rule.
Pega Rules. It is Pega Rules. So what is this Pega Rules? What is this Pega Platform? This you have to know. So I'll end up with one small statement. Consider my project is still in 7th version. Okay, so I'll log in with my operator ID, the master operator ID administrator. So it will take me to one OOTP application, which is with the name Pega Rules. Okay, and in the from the latest versions, you are seeing with the name Pega Platform. The latest versions you are seeing with the name Pega Platform. Okay. So generally here, if I wanted to create a new application, this is the navigation. Now I'm supposed to create a new framework or new implementation, right? This is the navigation, no doubt. So meaning one framework will be generated from here. One more framework might be generated from there. One more framework, maybe implementations. Something these applications are derived from this OOTP application. That is what you have to know. And in the past versions, so you'll see every application derived from, so Pega rules right then. So all the applications in the past version should be derived from Pega rules. And in the latest version, it must be Pega platform. So consider our project started in 2010. By that time, 7th version might be the latest one. And I have total below 10 applications, everything derived from Pega rules. Now my management wanted to jump to 8th version. So first they will be installing 8th version, and by default you'll see Pega platform, right? And whatever the development you have done from past 15 years, that is to be reused. That is to be reused. So if you are trying to take the product or build from one server to another server, so here F1 is what you'll expect, here F2 is what you'll expect, F3, maybe all the implementations. Ideally speaking, this F1 is derived from Pega rules, which is not available in this latest version. So if we are not having Pega rules and this F1 is linked from Pega rules, right? So is upgradation possible or not? Looks like not possible, right? So why this is changed to Pega platform? This we have to understand. Okay, I'll talk about in detail about all these things in tomorrow's session. And today we're just understanding more about like operator related and something more scenario based on top of it. And then we understood what is OOTP. And after we logging in, what will be the default development studio? These things we have understood. So tomorrow I'll quickly compare between older versions and the latest versions. And then we'll start our actual application creation. So we'll create one framework and then we'll create one implementation and then we'll proceed. So once we start our practical work, so you will be given with some projects also, maybe from tomorrow or day after tomorrow itself. So you will be, or you are expected to start other two projects also. I'll guide everything. Don't worry on that. Okay. Fine. So clear, right, every one of you? Any questions or any doubts, anyone today's session? Clear, right?
Yes, Chandra.
Sure. Then. We'll meet tomorrow. Thank you.